Hey, everybody. Bet Online continues to be. That's right, because it was before and it still is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned vet or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion. They'll take you from touchdowns to three-pointers to hat tricks, and thusly, Bet Online has you covered on every game, every play, and every win. Football, NBA, college hoops, NHL, UFC, Bet Online. The game starts here. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Dan Besbris. This is Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. We actually have a new partner we'll tell you about a little bit later on in the program as well. But before we settle in, please hit that like button on the show. We're getting a little lax with our likes, I believe. That number has been slowly ticking downward over the course of the season. Let's bump it back up again. If you're new to the proceedings, hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening after the fact, if you found us on Apple, iTunes, something like that, Spotify, 5-star review, please, pretty please. I love you forever. Yesterday was an awesome Tuesday for fantasy basketball. By the way, you can find me on Twitter at Dan Besbris, DanBesbris. Old Man Squad on Blue Sky, Old Man Squad Fantasy on Instagram. Here's the quick hitter on what went down on Tuesday night. Then we'll dive in a little bit more. Andrew Nembhard and TJ McConnell vying for the Tyrese Halliburton minutes. Cason Wallace has been surging lately, shooting the ball exceptionally well in addition to his usual stuff. Onyeka Okongwu went 20-20. Lonzo Ball, now upgraded, might not sit the back-to-back. Already a roto ad. Is there more? Keon Ellis back in the mix with Malik Monk down. Derek Lively got hurt. That was the big injury that happened in the games yesterday. So that's going to create a little Daniel Gafford window. D'Lo and Cam Johnson are back for the Brooklyn Nets. And, of course, the big story of the day, Scoot freaking Henderson. And that is where we are going to start our journey today. We're going to go straight to the very last game on the board when the Portland Trail Blazers lost the game, but won the war, or whatever it is. They got better, got closer to having the worst record, whatever. Scoot got the start. And yes, there are some factors that went into that. No Denny Avdia, and prior to that, no Jeremy Grant. So we're down a pair of power forwards. And in this instance, by the way, like the fact that Scoot was the next choice is a small win in all of this. That should not be lost. Toumani Camara slid up to play power forward. Shaedon Sharpe slid up to play small forward. And that left an opening in the backcourt as opposed to potentially going bigger with someone like a Jabari Walker or a Chris Murray. So the Blazers went small. Scoot got the start at point guard or shooting guard. Doesn't really matter. He and Anthony Simons kind of splitting the difference at that spot. And Scoot took advantage of the opportunity, scored 39 points, over 20 of those in the first half, 8 3-pointers, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, ridiculous shooting. The 8 3-pointers are not a sustainable number. He missed some free throws, which is actually kind of odd because he's been not a bad foul shooter of late. I've seen him get to the line a bit. He's in a 2-game free throw shooting funk that's derailed what was otherwise a really good free throw shooting year. I think he was up around 81, 82 like he was last season, and he's 6 of 12 since then. So, oopsies, that number fell off a cliff. That was right after a game where Scoot went 12 for 12 at the free throw line. But this is all about opportunity. Obviously, it's great. The 39 points are amazing. The 8 3-pointers is nuts. Like, this is way out. He's blowing out his personal bests to this point. But again, I don't want to focus so much on the individual success of that ball game because Scoot's previous high was 6 3-pointers. He actually got that in the season finale last year. The most important thing for Scoot was the minutes. 39 minutes was far and away a season high. And I think more than anything, a sign that there is a slowly building trust taking place between the Blazers and their top pick from last year. How does that translate when Avdia comes back, when Grant comes back, all these little things that could shake out. I don't actually know. And claiming I know would be overstating my ability to understand what teams are doing. But here's where I stand on Scoot. And I think this is a measured approach. And I think you guys can probably get behind this one. Step one, you pick him up. As soon as we found out he was starting yesterday, he basically became an ad. He's always been over-rostered because of the ability to be kind of a punt guy. But he's down at 24%. He had fallen pretty far over the last month and a half, 2 months, whatever you want to call it. You pick him up. Just kind of like you call it a speculative ad, if you'd like. That's probably the most accurate terminology. Head-to-head, you're going to play him and see what happens. Roto, if you want to play him, if he starts again, that's fine. If you want to stash him on your bench to see how this thing shakes out, that's also fine. Just sort of play it a little bit more cautiously, if you like. But I don't think that you can leave that kind of production on the wire. And I get it. I know a lot of you are going to hear me talk, and you're going to say, I'm not even going to bother because I know what's about to happen. Avdia is going to come back. Scoot's going to go back to the bench. He's going to get mushed back into 23, 24 minutes a ball game. You're not going to get lines anywhere near this number. Yeah, probably. That's probably what's going to happen. But Jeremy Grant could get traded. Anthony Simons could get traded. DeAndre Ayton could just decide he's done for the year or get traded. Robert Williams could get moved. I don't know that that changes anything all that much. Guys can get hurt. There's a lot of different ways that Scoot can continue to push himself into additional stuff. So pick him up immediately. If you didn't already, you probably did. And then let's just see how it goes. Let's just see how it goes. You're not beholden to him for any stretch of time. You don't have to hang on for 2 weeks because you picked him up. You could make it through a day if you wanted to. The other good news here is that Portland actually slides into a great schedule starting, Saturday, but a pretty damn good schedule starting tomorrow on Thursday. They play on Thursday, which is a win all by itself because that's the light day this week. And then they start a 5-7 on Saturday. So they actually 6 games and 9 nights starting on Thursday. So even if Scoot doesn't do all that much, he's still a pretty good head-to-head grab for that stretch. As might as well stay with Portland for a minute, Toumani Camara for that stretch, who is looking more and more every day like he could be a silly season winner. Camara is about the same level of rostership as Scoot. He's been very up and down this year. He's number 130. He got as high as 115. He fell back into the 150s. He's on a little bit of a heater right now because the free throws are dropping and his usage is actually up a little bit. But again, some of that's the Jeremy Grant stuff. This ball game was largely the Jeremy Grant plus Denny Avdia thing. He's another guy where you could probably make a half-decent argument to kind of add and stash and see how the next 3 weeks now, we're 3 weeks away from the trade deadline, see how the next 3 weeks shake out. Because if Portland thins the herd, Camara could be a guy who becomes a pretty damn useful fantasy player. Especially on the shoulders of the fact that he's a good steals guy. I got him in a league. I got Scoot in a league or two. There's one league I'm in where my roster is totally full, and I can't pick up either of these guys. And everywhere else, I'm like, man, I could really use these dudes. And they're not available everywhere. Donovan Clingan tweaked a knee right at the end of this ball game, which is a shame, or an ankle. This is saying ankle. So we'll see how that shakes out. DeAndre Ayton only played 24 minutes here. He's going to trend down at some point. Ayton's been a real pain in the neck player who I don't know why. I have no idea why his ADP was going up during draft season. He was a guy that was like, great, I'll take him around 100. And when he outperforms that on the per game side, I'll just get what I can get. And then he started costing. So we'll see. Donovan Clingan, play that one a little bit day by day. If Clingan is out and Robert Williams becomes the backup in the short term, he would probably be an ad because we know Time Lord can get it done in about 18 to 20 minutes per ball game. And then, of course, this is what I talked about. If Anthony Simons gets hot, you try to get something for him. He's cooled off a little bit here. DeAndre Ayton, same exact story. Shaedon Sharpe had 20 again. He's a pretty narrow fantasy game on that dude. On the other side of this game, because, look, let's be honest, the Tank Fest in Portland was probably the most interesting game on the card last night. Noah Clowney got to play center, which is great. That meant no Nick Claxton, but these are the games where you want Clowney, when he can actually log some sort of big man type of minutes. And it all worked out because not only did he get to log the big man minutes, but he got better looks out there because D'Angelo Russell was back, didn't play that much, but that'll ramp up. D'Lo 13, 9, and 4 steals in only 21 minutes. He's going to be great as long as he's healthy. Cam Johnson came back in 27 minutes. He looked pretty good. What do we do with the rest of these guys? With the return of those dudes, everybody else on the Nets, literally every other player on the Nets, with the exception of Cam Thomas, who will be back at some point, and then he'll be a start in all formats guy. And probably Noah Clowney, who's more of kind of like your active stash type, with seeing a little bit of the upside here. He got some steals, got a block. I still want to see some more. I'm not fully bought in, but I get the active stash element. Everybody else looks like a schedule play. The closest among all the other guys right now is Zaire Williams, because he's scoring, he's rebounding, he's getting some defensive stats and some three-pointers, and he's not blowing up percentages. But to me, with Brooklyn moving into, if I'm remembering right, and I can triple check myself on this, moving into a pretty good scheduling spot as of yesterday. Yeah, they started a 6 games in 9 days set last night. You can go schedule play on all of those guys for head-to-head. For roto, I don't think I would start any of those guys against a games cap other than D'Lo and Cam Johnson. For head-to-head, Clowney, yes. And again, Stashy. Williams, yes. Keon Johnson, yes. Ben Simmons, when he plays, is a reasonable head-to-head target. I know he had 11 assists here, but this was sort of a playground kind of game. I don't want Ben Simmons anymore. And again, he's a difficult play in head-to-head, too, because he sits on back-to-backs. So throw him out with the bathwater. Jalen Wilson, Tyrese Martin, he's going to take a big hit here with D'Lo and Cam Johnson back. But again, when teams play 6 games in 9 nights, you just you get what you get. Let's zip back up to the top. We can move through the other 6 games probably a little faster than that one, because that was, to me, the really interesting one. The Cavaliers, they just sort of chug on. Donovan Mitchell was on our Buy Low show, and immediately he went crazy, so whoopsies. The Pacers do have one thing going on, and that one thing is who's picking up for Tyrese Halliburton. Ben Shepherd got the start, but nobody cared, as you should not. Andrew Nembhard slid down to play point guard. That's the more interesting one, and just had a horrible free throw shooting game. But for that, it was actually a pretty good ball game. If he goes 4 for 5 at the line instead of 2 for 5, it's a 12.9 assist, 3 steal game with, again, no 3-pointers. That's the Nembhard way. But he's startable, I think, right now, especially if you're punting threes while Tyrese Halliburton is out. TJ McConnell got 21 minutes, and there's no competition for the point guard job when he's on the floor. I just don't know that 21 minutes is enough. 10 and 8 is pretty good, but I'd like to see him get up near 24 minutes before I say, yes, that's a all systems go kind of play. So for right now, with Halliburton out, Nembhard is the guy I'm looking at. Oklahoma City, Cason Wallace was one of the names we mentioned in the outset as sort of like the players to consider for your team. He had 18, 5, and 4 with a steal and a couple of 3 balls. He's been really good lately. Had that stretch, I think it was like end of November, early December, where he was playing really well and he pushed inside the top 100. And then his minutes started to bounce around again a little bit. But as long as they're over 30, he is 100% a yes for any roster that's punting points, because he's giving you a few assists, a few boards, a few steals. He's not ruining percentages. He'll hit a 3-ball every once in a while. He is like a poor man's Alex Caruso this year on a team that actually has Alex Caruso, fittingly. So Cason Wallace is a go, especially right now while he's shooting the ball well and pushing himself up the board. He's actually inside the top 100 on the season now, if you can believe that. And over the last 2 weeks, he's number 76 because he's scoring 11 points and shooting 59%. But obviously, that's not going to stick. He'll fall back a little bit. Punt points is still the target for me there. That's where I'm going. For Philly, everybody was out. No Maxey, no George, no Embiid. This was a throwaway game. Philly said, we got no shot against the Thunder, not the way we're currently constructed. And they basically just said, screw it. And the Sixers are now 2 games out of a play-in spot. But luckily, the Bulls are terrible. And someone in that group is probably also going to crumble. So the Sixers are not that far away. They're embarking on a hard part of the schedule. If all of the stars are out, and in this game, Jeff Doughton, Justin Edwards, these guys had good performances. I would prefer to just stick with Oubre and Yabusele. And I know Kelly Oubre didn't have that great of a ball game, but still, you know damn well he's more trustworthy than these guys that none of us had heard of until earlier this week. NBA 2K creative players that got dropped onto the 76ers. So let's see who's available for the Sixers' next ball game. I think it's tonight. Am I remembering that right? Yeah, they got the Knicks coming up tonight. I bet you see some of those guys back. Because they were like, which of these 2 games do we have a better shot of winning? Thunder or Knicks? And they're like, Knicks are semi-slumping a little bit. So I think they'll play their guys. Knicks are 5-5 in their last 10. I know it's not like a big slump, but it's not the run they were on before. And now, guys, it's time to tell you about our new partners here on Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball, and that is Underdog Fantasy, baby. Underdog Fantasy, welcome to the fray. We even have our own promo code. It's Old Man. So here's the thing. Right now, I'm waiting on Underdog to drop a few promo credits in my account so that I can play along with you guys. That's going to be the most fun for me. In the meantime, go ahead and sign up. Use the promo code OLDMAN, all one word, or you can click the referral link that's in the show description. Whatever's simpler, that'll let them know who sent you. Underdog is very cool because they have 2 fantasy games you can play as an alternative to traditional wagering. So on Underdog, they've got pick'em lines floating around out there, or pick'em, that's not right, pick'em projections that they've got on their website. And all you have to do is say whether or not a player is going to go higher or lower. That's it. You can do it for basketball. You can do it for football. They've got all that stuff cooking right now. You just add your picks, a minimum of 2. You can make even more than that if you want. And it's an opportunity to grow some money. Plus, right now, you can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash, which is a 50% deposit match if you use our promo code, which again is Old Man. I can't wait to do some videos where I share my screen and you guys watch me go through the NBA plays and we just do it together and we can win together and we can lose together and all that good stuff. But it's like, this is going to be so much fun. So please give them a shot. At the very least, open up an account. Even if you don't put a deposit in there on day 1, open up that account. That way, when you do that first deposit using our promo code, then you'll get that sweet extra bonus. So then you get your payout. You play, you win, you get your payout. They also have draft games at Underdog, which I'll admit, I haven't even explored those yet, but I'm very excited to see how they go. You can check out rankings, results, all this stuff. I would say, though, start with the pick'ems. Go to the pick'em page on underdog.com. Actually, here, we'll share the tab. Now you guys can see what's going on. Go to the pick'em page at underdog.com or underdogfantasy.com. I'm screwing up the read on day 1. Sorry, Underdog. I'll get this right. I'm settling in. Click on the NBA button, unless you're really good at this other stuff, because you got college hoops, NHL, MMA, tennis, PGA, League of Legends, Counter-Strike, esports. All that stuff is available on the Pick'em page. But for me, I'm looking at NBA. By the way, I heard from our buddy Brenton Eckersley over on the DFS side that Jalen Brunson is likely to have a really good game against the Sixers today. So if I was building out my lineup today, I would look at the Jalen Brunson higher and lower markers, and I get in on that. You can do points. You can do points in the first 5 minutes. There's all these different options you can float through. So check out all the picks. They go through game by game. You can see me scrolling along here. You've got Raptors, Celtics. I don't know if you think might happen in that ball game. We'll go through. We'll do all of this together. We'll make some cards. In the meantime, go to underdogfantasy.com, sign up with promo code OLDMAN, or use the link in the show description, and let's win together. This is going to be a blast. I can't wait. I'm so excited to have them aboard. Welcome aboard, Underdog Fantasy. They're a great company. And their Twitter feed is an amazing way to get news very fast. They have 500,000 followers. Hey, Keontae George is back. There's some good news. Phoenix Suns. I sang it a few days ago and everybody got mad at me, so I'm going to not sing it, but I'm going to quote The Who once again. Meet the new Suns, same as the old Suns. Phoenix loses in Atlanta. Phoenix stinks, man. They're a game under 500 now at 19-20, 4-6 their last 10. They can't win on the road. And admittedly, the Hawks are better this year than people thought, but the Hawks are not that good. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant did their job. Grayson Allen was decent enough, who, by the way, I am considering a Grayson Allen ad in many formats. If his role continues to grow, which it kind of looks like it is, I mean, if he caps out at 27 minutes, I probably won't hold. But, look, okay, you're probably not going to be fighting for Grayson Allen on a day where Scoot went crazy, and we'll get to Okongwu in a minute. Like, there's all these other guys that are going to get scooped up first. But keep one eye on Grayson Allen at the very least. I want nothing to do with Plumlee, Dunn, O'Neal, or Iguodala right now. Bradley Beal is a hold. Again, it's not going to be as good as before, but I don't think he's a drop. And then Tyus Jones, I said on yesterday's show, I'm going to try to give him another week. And this was a slightly better performance, but still not very good. Vit Krejci on the Hawks had 15-6, but he's on a heater right now, so that's more of a schedule play. Okongwu was definitely the story in this game. 22 points, 21 rebounds in 28 minutes. And we've always known that Okongwu is a monster if given appropriate playing time. The problem, of course, is that he shares his playing time with Clint Capella. And so Okongwu never gets quite enough when Capella's healthy. And Capella's healthy. And so you get this back and forth every damn couple of days. And Capella gets warm for 2 weeks. Then Okongwu gets warm for 2 weeks. And it's back and it's forth and it's back and it's forth. And if you want to ride with Okongwu while he's hot, I'm okay with it. Just understand this isn't changing until it really, really changes. And you can look at the minute breakdown and you can see, as much as we want to sort of like pull the curtains apart and see something better, Okongwu's minutes lately are 18, 24, 24, 24, 23, 22, 28. They're unbelievably predictable. You want Clint Capella's minutes? We can do those too. I can pull them up while we're talking right now. Over those generally last games, 25, 21, 27, 20, 22, 19, 25, 26, 20. It's hot hand time in Atlanta. I wish it was Okongwu all the time, but it's not. I need it to be, but it's not. But I need it to be, but it's not. Has Dyson Daniels cooled off a tiny bit? Maybe a little. He's still 24th in 9-cat. New Orleans beat Chicago. Not a whole lot to read into here. Zion is slowly ramping up, but of course he is a pretty substantial difference maker for that team, and they won a game. Javonte Green had a nice one, but I would need to see that about 55 times before I believed it was actually happening. The bigger story here, I think, is that Yves Missi is probably going to be a drop. Is he there yet? I mean, Daniel Tice outplayed him in this ball game, and that had something to do with it. I don't expect Missy to only get 16 and a half minutes most games. He was just kind of getting pushed around by Vooch for a while, so they went to more of a veteran. Let's give Missy, I don't know, what do you guys think? About 3 more games? Let's see if he can start to find his footing in 3 more games, and then maybe we can hang on. But he's been kind of bad for about 5 in a row, but for one game where he did have 4 blocks. Meaning, if we give him 3 more, that'll be about 8 games of stinking before we finally move on. And I think that's fair. Lonzo Ball didn't need to start. Kobe White was back. Lonzo came off the bench, still played 25 minutes. The Bulls, by the way, lost this game by 6. Lonzo was a plus 10, best on the team. He's the frickin' ticket, man. Anybody would be very lucky to have that dude. I don't think anybody's going to trade for Lonzo because he's such an intense injury risk. But 11, 8, and 6 with a steal, a block, and 3 3-pointers. Guys, he's starting to look a little bit like Lonzo Ball. And now there's talk that he might not even sit the back-to-back, which is mind-boggling stuff. I would have assumed it was a given, but he's pushing for it. That would, to me, change everything. Because right now, I can't make a very good argument to add him in head-to-head leagues when you know he's going to sit multiple games. But if suddenly he's trying to play every game, that would really be quite something. And I picked him up and dropped him in a few spots, and now I'm feeling sad about it. Try to get him back. That's the only thing you can do. I don't know who I drop in these leagues. Who would I drop in this league to pick up Lonzo Ball? He's available in a couple of the leagues I'm in, but like, I think my worst player in this particular one is Koulibaly. Would I rather have Lonzo or Bilal? Probably stick with what I've got. Anyway, pick up Lonzo Ball if you're in a roto league. If you're in a head-to-head, you can wait and see if he plays in the back-to-back, but he's there in roto now. He's there. Sacramento got blown out by Milwaukee, but Keon Ellis was good again because Malik Monk was out, and we're seeing Keon is just a very, 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 very good injury replacement play. So pick him back up if he was dropped and play him until Monk comes back. Brook Lopez bounced up a little bit, not all the way back because there weren't any blocks in this game, but he's been on our buy low board for a couple of weeks, I think. That'll probably start to happen. And of course, this is why we said sell Bobby Portis whenever you can, because the cool down happens and they'll get hot again at some point. This won't be the last time that he goes into the cool spell after the hot spell, but there's not a whole lot with that team. Denver, this was a blowout, so the minutes were a little bit goofball. You're holding Russ. I'm going to keep holding Christian Brown. I know he hasn't been that good lately. I did like the 3 blocks here, though. So even though overall he's been outside the top 100 over the last couple of weeks, I mean, just generally the usage has been kind of too low for him. I did like the blocks. The defensive stats, I think, are also in a little bit of a lull around those. So I'm going to give Brown at least another week, maybe more, just based on what we saw for a while to start the year. I'm not adding Peyton Watson in roto. I'm holding Russell Westbrook. You guys know I'm not a big Aaron Gordon guy, so on we truck. But look at Jamal Murray, man. After a slow start to the year, he has really power blasted his way up the board. He's number 37 in 9-cat right now, and he's looking like a draft day value. On the Dallas side, Kyrie Irving came back, and that's rendered all of the streamers way too unpredictable. So I'm done with Najee Marshall. I'm done with Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm done with Quentin Grimes, who, to his credit, had a better ball game here, but I'm done with him too. I am in still on PJ Washington. I am scared about Derek Lively, whose imaging came back clean, but apparently it was not a very good... Oh, I'm out on Klay Thompson again, too, by the way. Forgot to mention him on the guys I'm out on. This is your Daniel Gafford window again, guys, because Derek Lively, for the life of him, cannot stay healthy. If you can get your paws on Daniel Gafford, now is the time to do it. And if you already have him, now is the time to play him for a game or two and then try to sell hard like we did before. Get healthy soon, Derek. We miss you. And we already talked Brooklyn and Portland, so, we did the full loop around there. That was a fun Tuesday, though. We don't get that many things most Tuesdays. Andrew Nembhard is a really nice ad these days with Halliburton out. Cason Wallace is a great punt points ad. Lonzo is a great roto ad. Ellis is a great streamer. Gafford now a great streamer. And Scoot getting crazy. Unquestionably the story of the night. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure to subscribe on your way out. That's a big deal. And please make sure to hit the like button on the trade deadline live show, which climbed up and over 500 pre-likes yesterday. I'm very excited about that. Probably shouldn't be that excited. I think we're at 516 pre-likes right now. I still want to try to get to 1,000. Can we get another 484 pre-likes over the following 22 days? Probably not. But with your help, maybe? That link is in the show description as well. Other links in the show description to our partner program at Underdog Fantasy, one of our brand new sponsors here on the show and through the Believe Network. Thank you, big thank you to the Believe Network for setting all of that up, along with our pals over at Bet Online. Hit the like button again. We got to make sure we get those likes going again. We got to kick these videos into high gear just a little bit faster. Love you guys. You're the best. Stay tuned, by the way. Also, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we can get that marathon live show going on Friday this week, where we'll be raising money for Palisades Charter Elementary School. Palisades Elementary, one of the three elementary schools actually, that burned down in the Palisades fire. And of course, the one that's close to my heart, because that is where my older son went. And an update on that front while we're signing off here. My older son went back to school today. And that was not me crying, although I might at some point during this last little spiel. That was me dealing with the fact that the air in Los Angeles is extraordinarily weird. My sinuses are, I think, bigger than my face right now. It feels like my sinuses have expanded outside the confines of my skull. The district, I know I said this on a previous show. I'm beyond blown away that they were able to lift up, metaphorically, 400 kids and teachers and staff and all that, and just move them to an area that was not being used on another nearby elementary school campus. And so 8 days after my son's school and his friends' houses all burned down, those kids are back in school with their same teachers and their same friends. And it is like they had a picnic yesterday. And to watch the kids see each other and just like giggling and going crazy and throwing balls off of walls and losing their minds because they've been cooped up for a week, while all the parents just stood there like heads hanging, so happy for their children and realizing that everything is so very, very different. That was quite a sight. It's all over the news. If you can find Southern California local news, we have all the different affiliate networks in Los Angeles. So, ABC, KTLA, KCAL, all these different NBC, CBS, whatever. They all had news crews out this morning to show these kids going back to school, which was a little bit weird. But thank you to the district. It's what a day. What a day. What a week. Anyway, thank you all again. Appreciate you. Next show will probably drop again towards the end of the evening, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I'm trying to work out a lot of things. I'm trying to get this live show planned. Stay tuned for that live show. Again, that'll be a fundraiser for my son's burnt down school. It'll be a Q&A fundraiser. So stealing a page actually out of the Josh Lloyd playbook, because I believe that he did a live Q&A fundraiser for the bushfire in Australia. I'm trying to remember when that was. That was, what year was the big one? Was that 2019? The 2019-2020 Australian bushfires, I think. Anyway, so I thought that was a great idea, and I was hoping that I would never have to do something similar, but here we are. So want to make sure that I reach out to all the analysts that reached out to me to say that they wanted to be a part of it. There's a lot of planning that I've got to figure out. But again, the premise of that was, if you were watching, you could put 50 cents, $1, $2, $5, whatever, into the YouTube chat and ask a question. And I would basically try to hit every single question that comes through, specifically the ones that came with a donation. That would obviously move to the top of the board. But if we can hit others, we would do that as well. And many analysts have reached out to ask if they can be a part of it. So I'm going to try to get that together for 2 days from now. Stay tuned. I'll have more information on that going out via social media. That's at Dan Besbris over on Twitter, DanBesbris. And I will see you guys over there between shows. Thanks again. I'm Dan for Old Man Squad. So long for now.